Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and welcome back to the Oak Bridge Chronicles down here on Oak Bridge Farm. I do hope you're all doing very, very well and having a great day. So, here we are back on Oak Bridge after the last episode where I've had this little bit of an idea of having a bit of a farm expansion. It's nothing major, just purchasing a couple more fields and knocking down a wall, removing a fence, joining the two fields together and just increasing a bit of the farm's portfolio of land. I've been very keen to get back on here and just get my teeth stuck into it because there's nothing, I don't know whether it's just something I feel, I don't know, but I just love having a bit of an expansion and changing up a little bit of the setup of the farm as you go along. So yeah, I've been really keen to get this sorted, but also I hope you can kind of recognise that there is a little bit of a visual difference going on here. There's been a bit of a flurry of activity over on my Discord in these last couple of days, primarily down to a couple of you wonderful guys. I need to give a big shout out to Martin ML Gamer and to FARMERSIM Farmer. Gentlemen, hope you're well if you are watching. I've got to give you guys a massive shout out and a big thank you for introducing me to these handful of mods that have changed the game for me, quite frankly. I'm going to pull over here where the light is kind of a bit of both. We've got a bit of shadow and we've got a bit of sunlight as well. Yeah, check this out. Like I said, I think that for me personally this has changed the game for me. It is absolutely gorgeous now. Like I say, they've been posting images over on my Discord of their farms and their setups and stuff, and I've been in awe of them, quite frankly. And I've been one of the things that I have noticed about them is just the way that they look. And I've been looking at them going, how do you do that? I want that really bad. Because something for me anyway, since FARMERSIM 25 has been released, obviously I love the way the game performs and runs, it's great, but just the lighting of the whole game in general it's never quite sat right with me. Yes, it looks great, you know, the additions to the new game, the sun's rays and the way that the light shines through trees and all that kind of stuff, it's great. It is. I'm not taking from any of that. But there's just been something not quite right with it, and now that I've had access to these mods and these different lighting folders, I can now see that it has been down to the lighting and the shadows essentially. So what I've now got running in my game is and if you are PC players, you'll be able to do this yourself. So I highly recommend you do. And if you want access to the files, jump on over to my Discord. The link will be in the video description below. Martin ML Gamer and FARMERSIM Farmer have both posted links and the files in the FS25 mods section over on my Discord, so anyone can get access to them. But essentially what you'll need this, it's a folder called Darker Shadows and Colours. Now you'll have to forgive me, I don't actually know where this has come from. I don't know its original source. I think it was it's there to download on my Discord, like I say, but I don't know who to credit for the original creation of it. But alongside that, you will need the additional game settings by Rockstar, because what this essentially is, you know, when you go into additional game settings, and I'll show you here now. So we go into settings. This is what you get when you've got additional game settings. You've got this whole new menu here. But what it allows you to do is access all the different custom lighting settings for the different maps. So at the minute, as you can see, I've got this one highlighted and I'm using it. It's called Shadow and Colour. But this is where you can go in and you can use the lighting from Riverbend Springs, for example, or Hooten Pantai or Zilonka, or any of the other maps that you've got in your map folder, in your mod folder, that have custom lighting. So you select this Shadow and Colour one, and what essentially I believe this does is it's called Darker Shadows and Colours, so it essentially darkens the shadows, and it does a hell of a lot more in the background as well. But yeah, now the lighting is just absolutely perfect. I spent a good few hours yesterday faffing around with it and changing settings up. I also have running another mod that I think it was FARMERSIM Farmer who pointed me in this direction. It's called More Realistic Light Shadows. Again, it's over on the Discord, the link to it over there, it takes you to fs25.net. The credits have been given to a mod called Rival. And again, what that does is, I think it focuses more on vehicle lights, potentially, but essentially it means that the shadows are calculated for each individual light source instead of several at the same time. So it essentially results in more realistic shadows. It does state on in the description of that particular mod that it requires the shadows require a lot of performance, and it can lead to reduced frames per second on weaker PCs, so just keep that in mind. But essentially that's kind of it. You've got that Darker Shadows and Colours folder that you pop into the lighting area of your additional game settings, and more realistic light shadows. Add those two together, plus the realistic weather mod, which apparently does something as well with fog and stuff like that. Honestly, I mean, look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. And like I said, it has changed the game for me. It's amazing. It really is. So, yeah, bit of a quick showcase of that. I thought I'd just bring all that to your attention, because like I say, if you're on PC, I can't recommend it enough. It's brilliant. I do also have reshade running. I will state that, but I haven't got anything that really affects any of the lighting. I just have a couple of clarity and detail additions running in reshade. So yeah, it's but it's mega. It really is. So anyway, right, cracking on with the day's work, what we got ahead of us. Well, like I said, I'm just wanting to focus primarily on making these changes to the farm, getting these two fields purchased, stitching them both together, and doing a bit of groundwork, field work, and just getting them ready for, yeah, for the near future. So, but what I've got to consider at that is, at the minute, the bank account is sat at, as near as makes no difference, £250,000, £250,991. Collectively, to make the purchase of the land that I want, it's going to cost me £264,264. So we're just under 11 grand shy of what we need. So I'm currently on the way to the garden centre. I have got, you'll have to forgive me there, I think there's something wrong with my my view. There we go, that's better. I'm sure I felt I was sitting a little bit high there. Anyway, I think that's down to a mod. That's the indoor camera position mod, I think, that occasionally messes up for me. But yeah, we've got 2 pallets of our cheese from the dairy on the trailer here, and I'm currently just taking these over to the garden centre to get somewhere in the region of about £5,500 into the bank account. Now, that obviously doesn't take me the whole way I need to get to the quantity that I have. So I am, obviously, what I am going to have to do as well is just get a very small loan. Now, I have tried to stay away from getting loans on this save, and so far I've done alright, because we haven't got one, but for the sake of just faffing around, I could wait a little bit of time. I could fast forward time into next year, into the into the winter a bit deeper, and get a few earnings in from the biogas plant. But I just thought, you know what, I'll be fine. We'll get a loan of 10 grand. We'll get this money into the bank from this cheese here, so we'll have an extra 15 odd grand. We'll make the purchase of the land, and then we'll have something in the region of about 4 and a bit grand left in the bank. And then, you know, as we tick by over the months, hopefully the income from the biogas plant will help to increase that. And I'm sure in due course we'll be able to pay off that relatively small £10,000 loan pretty quickly. That's the plan. So let's slow down first and foremost. Yeah, shouldn't be able to take off in a telehandler. There we are. So what do we get for that? 3,992. Well, that's less than what I was hoping for. I'm sure when I went to time-saving stock check. Well, it's gone now, isn't it? It said cheese there. Oh, it's already produced some more. It told me that the value of it at the minute was 5,000 and something. That's clearly dropped down in the last few minutes. That's disappointing. But apparently what I've got over in the production system at the minute, oh well, never mind. Anyway, it is what it is. Right, so £254,983. So now if I get a loan 10 grand, so we'll do that right away as well. Let's jump into our finances. There we go. So borrow 5, borrow 10. That gives us 264,983. Brilliant. So now I've got enough money by, what, 3-4 grand, I think, now to make the purchase, which is great. So I'll get ourselves back to the farm. We'll have a look at the land that we're going to buy, and I'll make that purchase. And then what I will have to do very quickly after that is I need to jump out of the game, jump into Giants Editor, remove the wall and the fence. Now, I could use the map object hider mod. I do appreciate that. I do have that installed, as always. It's a very, very helpful mod, that. But I am going to do it the proper way. Jump into the editor and just properly delete the wall and the fence. And then the idea is I'll bring you with me as I... Ooh, slow down there, FARMERSIM. There we are. Just look at that. I'm obviously sorry to keep babbling on about it. Am I going to make it through there? Just. Goodness me, that was tight, wasn't it? Yeah, the lighting. Honestly. I can't get enough of it. I really can't. Once I'd figured out the settings that these guys had over in there, you know, as they were showing me the images on the Discord, like I said, I was properly gobsmacked, and I just spent ages yesterday just tweaking things a bit, and, you know, changing this and doing that, and just, well, essentially I just spent a lot of time just taking screenshots and going, oh, look at this now I've, you know, now I've been able to achieve a little bit more of a closer appearance to what these guys had in their photographs. It just made my day, it really did. And it kind of just gave me a whole new lease of motivation for the game. I jumped into all my different save games over on Palanir, over here, over on Iowa Cattle looks absolutely brilliant over there. It really does. So yeah, so I just spent ages just faffing around going, oh, look at this, like, you know, new and shiny toy kind of thing. So yeah, really, really nice. But now that I've got all this, for me anyway, it hasn't really affected the performance, thankfully, which I'm very grateful for. I did do a load of testing with that as well, and it seems all right. But I'm very keen to get making a cinematic with this lighting and just see how fancy it'll look. That's for sure. So anyway, this is the land that we're looking to purchase. A couple of decent sized fields. I haven't actually added together the extra acreage we're going to gain from purchasing these. Let's just jump into our map and spend a bit of money. So field 2, there we go. So 5.21 acres and 5.55, so 10 point, just under 11 acres. So let's get this one purchased. Yep. And there we go. Let's get that one purchased as well. Excellent. It's ours. Yep, I know it needs lime. It's going to need a whole load of work, that's for sure. But the idea is, like I say, we're going to run the cultivator in here. We're going to join the two fields together in this strip here. I need to remove this long fence here, remove that gate, and we're going to remove the whole piece of wall along the road there. We're going to fill in this little gap here in the hedge with another little bit of hedge, and I'm going to try and do in the construction menu, I'm just going to try and mirror roughly what we have on the other side of the road. So place down a few hedges from over there to roughly about here. We're going to place a nice new big double gate roughly centrally aligned with the existing gate over there. Obviously do away with the grass here and just tarmac it a bit, put a bit of gravel down and just landscape it a bit and get that sorted. So I shall drop off here for a few moments time while I jump into Giants Editor, do a bit of wall demolition and a bit of fence removal, and I'll pick you up in a few seconds time. And just like that, no wall. So all sorted. That only took me, what, a couple of minutes in Giants Editor. Nice and simple. Unfortunately as well, I didn't actually need to use Giants Editor to remove the fence that's between the two fields in the distance there. That's just something you do out the construction menu. So all good, nice and easy. And I've just spent a couple of seconds in the construction menu just getting rid of the weeds and the bushes that were down here, just so I can jump into the construction menu now, and we'll place down a few more rows of these hedges and try and mirror this gate here. And it has just occurred to me actually that I've just spent a whole load of time at the beginning of this video showcasing the new lighting and getting all excited about it all, but I'm actually recording this video the day before I'm scheduling to do a live stream on Friday just gone, which I haven't done yet, of course, because that's happening tomorrow. But the likelihood is I will have spent a few minutes in that live stream as well, going, "Ooh, look at my fancy new lighting," and giving a shout out to Martin and Welsh there as well. So forgive me if you have watched that live stream already, or you were there to watch it. Yeah, I've just repeated myself, haven't I? Anyway, let's stop faffing. So let's get into the construction menu. I want to go to hedges here. So what we're going to do first and foremost, like I say, is in fact what I will do is switch the segments, which I think is it segment number 2 I want, which is the gate. Can't actually remember. Let's have a look. No, I don't want the wooden gate. I want the metal gate, which is that one there. So let's try and square myself off with that line there, potentially, and place the gate somewhere. I think there's as good a place as any, and it's roughly about right, roughly opposite, I think. So we'll place that down. Yep, there we go. And then I want to change back to segment 1, which is the hedges. That doesn't look quite straight, that, does it? Oh no, I suppose it kind of does. No, that's well off, I think. Right, let's, if we delete last segment, does that work? No, I'm going to need to come out of that bit, enter demolition mode. Thankfully all this is free, you'll have to excuse me ladies and gentlemen, so we select that. I want segment number 3, I need to do it from this way round because I want the gates to open inwards, not outwards. And go for about there-ish, I think. Yeah, it was a little bit too far that way, wasn't it? So it is quite a challenge. See, that looks, if I look down the line of where I'm planning on placing the hedge line, that looks about right. And then when you go right above it here, it just looks, oh, it's going to be fine. Stop faffing. Right, so segment 1, which is the hedges, I want to place it roughly from there. And just basically take that right down there, I think. Go to about there. Yeah, that'll do. I think. Let's just make sure we get that right up to the hedgerow there, so there's no gap. There we go. Very good. And then same again this side. Place for about there. And go straight into about there. Ish. There we are. That looks alright, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Let's jump out of construction. Yeah, I'm sure that gate's a bit wonky. Nothing worse than a wonky gate. So that should open inwards. Very good. Is it going to go through the ground though? Yes it is. So we're going to have to do a little bit of landscaping there. Because that gate just digs into the ground. So we need to do that. And then we also need to just paint in a little bit of the matching texture here. Again, just to make that, it's got to look right, hasn't it? So where am I going? Painting. I can't remember which one it was that we've done over here, but does that match asphalt dusty? Nope, it doesn't. Just made a mess of that one on a concrete dirt. Which one was it? I don't actually know. Oh, it's a cracked. It's that one there. Concrete shattered. I think that's, yeah, that's roughly about right. I do hate those the way that the textures paint down in kind of squares. It just, there's something not quite right with that, is there? Let's look at that. Looks well off that, doesn't it? That's annoying. I'm hoping that's just a visual thing. So if I come out of there, ah, oh, but then when you walk over it, oh, that is annoying, isn't it? Oh well, there's not much you can do about that right now. That'll sort itself in time, hopefully. But yeah, anyway, there we go. Faffing. So I need to sort that out. I'll do that at a later time anyway. And I also need to jump back into the construction menu. Go back to fences. Scroll right down to the very bottom where the hedges are. And fill in this little bit here. So let's just go from there to there. Thank you very much. That'll do. I am grateful that's all free, I've got to say. So this is now our new field. There we are. Like I say, I'll sort this levelling out a little bit later on. But there we are. We have ourselves a new plot of land, 2 new fields, which we will be stitching into one. And I think we shall do that immediately. So I do actually have the cultivator hooked up to the fence here. So we can get cracking and get on with a bit of field work. There we are. But yeah. Sorry, repeating myself again. I'm just every time it's one of these things where it's a new thing, isn't it? So until it becomes normal, every time you see it, you go, oh wow. But yeah, just the way that it feels, the way that the lighting has changed, everything in this in the game now, it's absolutely brilliant. So, quite simply, what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to, well, to be fair, I think I can just do it in one hit, can't I? But so I am going to run this whole field with the cultivator, turn it into one. And actually, before I do, I'm going to have to jump back into the construction menu very quickly because there's a bit of a hump there right in front of us. So again, if we jump into here and just smooth that off there, remove that bit of a hump in the field. In fact, while I'm here, just so I don't have to do it again, jump out and just run that very quickly across that strip, Just make sure that there's no little nasty lumps and bumps there for us. There we go. That's a bit better. Right, so let's bring up our F1 menu. I want to create fields. Yep. Drop that down. And just very simply and neatly as possible stitch that there. Excellent stuff. And then do the same, running up the side, running up the length of it. Just turn this little bit into a field. I will have to run back into again, won't I? Get the other side done. But yeah, that's essentially it. And what I might actually do is I might actually just smooth off. If I can bring up my mouse cursor, I might just kind of radius this in a bit and just smooth that off a bit. We don't really need that right angle there, do we? Let's be honest. Right, so there we go. But just look at that. Sorry. It just looks mega. It really does. Right, anyway, so leave this with me for a moment or two. I shall, like I say, I'm going to join these little bits together here, make a bit of an amendment here, and just remove that relatively sharp right angle. I may well give add a bit of a radius into the each corner of the field as well, and just remove the right angle from it. So yeah, but I'll pick you up in a few moments' time. Right, there we go. Stitched them both together, ran the cultivator across all that little bit of land. Done a little bit of spent a little bit of time, sorry, in the construction menu, just like I say, just removing the sharp corners off of these fields. It's just how I prefer field shapes to be, and plus it makes the use of course plate a little bit easier. It helps that along its way. I think I just much prefer having slightly rounded corners, and I've kind of sorted out almost this little area here. I just flattened it off a bit so the gate's now open without diving into the ground. This one's a little bit at the end there, but not really going to see that. But either way, I am going to need to keep these gates closed while we work in the field, because they're quite close to the edge of the field there, aren't they? Anyway, right, sorted. Just look at that. One thing I do actually have to say, before I do crack on and get this job done, thrown into a bit of a cinematic, as a result of doing the whole darker shadows and colours mod, and I don't know which mod it is that's causing the problem, but I will honestly say when I jump in, it's not causing me any problems. My game's still perfectly balanced. I've had no crashing. But if I go into the developer console, you can see there are now lots of script errors appearing in red, and that has become prevalent ever since sorting this lighting thing out. But the game is still, so far from my experience anyway, I've had no crashing problems. It doesn't cause a problem at all. It's only when you jump into the dev console that you'll see that there are all sorts of what does it say there? Argument 1 has wrong type. It's all down to the lighting essentially, but it runs fine. So if any of you do want to do this, and like I say, jump over onto the Discord and grab the files and make these alterations for your own game. As far as I'm aware, don't be concerned if you do jump into there and see those errors. It's just I'd like to think that it's just a coding thing, but it works perfectly fine. Right, anyway, enough of my voice. Let's crack on and get this field done. Right, there we go. Job done. New field created. So, I suppose actually thinking about it as well, I should have actually limed this before cultivating it, shouldn't I? It does need lime. I feel that that would have been the correct order to do things, and then we could have scrubbed that line under the soil and let it do its thing. But, anyway, there we go. Job done. Now, forgive me again, sticking with the lighting thing for a second, there's one aspect of the game at the minute that does do my nutting, and I know it's nothing to do with the lighting that I've just added into the game and created with all this. It's this. And if you see the speed in which I'm assuming it's meant to be the clouds moving in the sky, and as the light shines through the clouds, it's kind of moving with the clouds, but the speed that you can see the light moving on the ground here compared to the speed that the clouds are moving just doesn't add up. So it kind of looks as as you're doing your field work, it kind of looks like you've got a cluster of kind of UFOs just kind of beaming lights down onto the ground as like quite fast, if you know what I mean. That's a base game thing. I've seen that happen, and I've seen a few people comment on it actually, but I've seen that since the beginning, especially. It's not a map thing either. I've seen it over on Riverbend Springs, for example. I saw that happen quite a lot. But anyway, enough of that. I spent most of this episode waffling about lighting, but you've got to say, it does look amazing, doesn't it? So, like I said before, if any of you are PC players and you are interested in making your game look even remotely like this, I wholeheartedly recommend jump on over to my Discord. You'll find everything you need over there. And if you need any help or any support in sorting it all out, just give us a shout in the relevant sections. There is always somebody there to help out and give some advice if needed. I've got to say it was a really nice thing actually yesterday. Just a few people commented on how they loved being part of the Discord, and they considered it one of their favourite Discords to be on because everyone is so wonderfully helpful and supportive and happy to lend a hand if need be. It's a great place to be. I've said that several times before, so again, forgive me for repeating myself, but yeah. If you want to be part of the community over there, by all means, it'd be great to see you. So jump on over there, join the club, as it were. Come say hello. Anyway, right. So job done, field created, and I think for today's episode, I'm going to call it here. We're in January, obviously. We've got a couple of months ahead of us before we can start getting anything into this ground. But come March, we'll be able to potentially get some oats in here. We could do linseed as well, but we've already got 2 fields of linseed, haven't we? But I'm not really too bothered about expanding into different crops at the minute with things like potatoes and peas and spinach and all that kind of stuff, because in order to do that does involve a fair commitment financially for the machinery and what involved to do that. I'll consider it. I do actually quite fancy potatoes, and I think of the other kind of lesser done crops I feel potatoes are the more common one, because you can get some relatively affordable potato machinery, but the potato harvesting kit that's pretty big. Whether it's a bit too big for this map or not, I'm not too sure, but yeah, we can certainly plant some potatoes, but harvesting them, that's a pretty penny. Anyway, right, so for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it here. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed the episode and found it a little bit of fun. As always, if you're new to the channel and you like my content, you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please give the video a like if you can. It does do wonders, helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And as always, there are a host of links in the video description below with my Giants Partner promo code. If any of you are in the market for purchasing Farming Simulator 25 and you like the idea of supporting the channel and helping out a creator, as always, I would be massively appreciative. And also, if any of you are in the market for an online server and you like the idea, again, of supporting the channel, but also like the idea of a 10% reduction in the cost of that server, please consider using my G-Portal affiliate link, which again will be in the video description below. Any help and support there also would be massively appreciated. So, thank you very much for your time again, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.